How's it going, everybody? I hope you're all having an awesome day. I'm a mess, and this week I'm going to talk about a character I relate to a little bit. He has some serious self-esteem issues and lacks self-confidence, despite being incredibly talented, but when people try to tell him this, he takes it as them just trying to cheer him up. I can relate to him because I feel the same way. I also have self-esteem and confidence issues. And when people tell me I can do something and do it really well, I just take it as them being nice to me, even if they are serious. For this video, I'm going to be talking about Lloyd Belladonna from supposed kid from the last dungeon Boonies moved to a starter town. Just so you guys know, I will be referring to the show as Last Dungeon Boonies from now on if I do mention it again later on in the video, just so you're all aware of that. Since I mentioned Lloyd in a previous video, I'm just going to quickly go over his origin story. Spoiler warning, by the way. He grew up in the town of Kunlun, which is the village that guards the sealed final dungeon. It's full of retired heroes and legendary soldiers, and even adventurers who are incredibly powerful and gifted. Lloyd is the black sheep of Kunlun. He doesn't have as many spells as everyone, but he does have two incredibly powerful spells. He isn't invincible, but he is super strong and can heal really quickly. As a result of growing up in a village with some insane people, he doubts his ability. Despite being 100 times stronger than the average soldier and adventurer, Lloyd goes around fighting against incredibly dangerous monsters without even knowing it. For you see, in Kunlun, giant insects and dragons are considered ordinary pests and lizards, so Lloyd thinks nothing of swatting them away or running past them. Ordinary people will struggle and even die against these creatures, while Lloyd doesn't even bat an eye when he sees them. Now, with all of this, you might be wondering, if he's that strong, why does Lloyd have self-esteem issues? Well, do you think you could take on a tiger after squishing a bug? Well, it's the same for Lloyd. After killing these bugs and lizards, he doesn't feel like he accomplished anything great. He doesn't even see them as monsters. Monsters in his eyes are demon lords, the most dangerous beings in existence. He apparently went up against one when he was a little kid, and he was petrified in its presence. While the other citizens of Kunlun can handle a demon lord no problem, Lloyd couldn't. Now this was back when he was a little kid, and it traumatized him and caused him to doubt his own ability. Since then, he's grown much stronger, but he still gets cold sweats whenever he hears people say there are monsters running loose. Again, by his definition, a monster is a demon lord, not the pests he swats away on a regular basis. Despite being afraid, he will still run towards the area where the monsters were seen, but never find any, only pests flying around and getting in his way. Now, the reason he moved out of Kunlun and to the capital was to become a soldier and eventually become a hero who saves the weak. He grew up idolizing the story of heroes. One in particular is the hero So. In the story, So showed up when the world was on the verge of being destroyed, and he single-handedly defeated a powerful demon lord and prevented the world's destruction. Lloyd wants to be a brave soldier and hero just like So. So, whenever there is someone in danger, he will move forward, despite being afraid. He not only helps the citizens, but also other soldiers who are struggling. A recruit of noble descent named Alan Twine Litcaine had a lot of potential but froze in fear during a demon lord's raid on the capital. The demon lord released a horde of giant locusts onto the city, and Alan, having never fought a monster, hid in an alleyway until Lloyd found him. Alan expected Lloyd to scold or insult him, but he comforted him and told him it was natural to be afraid. Lloyd went on to explain his first confrontation with a monster, and he couldn't do anything, but his goal is to be a hero, so he couldn't just do nothing. He needs to continue to move forward and face his fear. While saying this, Lloyd was shaking and Alan noticed it. He saw Lloyd talking about becoming a hero while shaking in fear. And the only thing he could think of was this guy doesn't allow fear to stagnate him. He wishes to move forward and improve himself. In that moment, a giant locust showed up and Lloyd just flicked it away. He then told Alan that Alan, is still a soldier. After seeing this, Alan knew he couldn't just sit around and do nothing, so he went to fight the monster terrorizing the citizens. Lloyd showed his bravery and helped motivate a soldier to fight through his fear and save others. Cause remember, bravery does not mean a lack of fear, it means to act despite being afraid. And Lloyd showed Alan this, as well as showing him how a true soldier should act. Now, Lloyd's most impressive moment is when he actually goes up against a demon lord. Remember when I said Lloyd has two incredibly powerful spells? One of those spells is a purification spell, which cleanses anything the rune, a powerful magic symbol that holds tremendous power, comes in contact with. Lloyd will use this spell just for cleaning purposes. unaware of how powerful of a spell it was. The demon lord who invaded the capital was possessing the king, and when the princess, who was one of Lloyd's friends and a skilled witch, confronted him, she was utterly beaten. I forgot to mention this earlier, but Kunlun has a rule where their citizens are not allowed to get involved in political conflicts. So the witch Mari didn't want to get Lloyd into trouble with his village, so she refused Lloyd's assistance. But then when she confronted the king and learned he was a demon lord, she was infuriated. The reason was because a demon lord is a being that threatens the whole world, which is exactly what Kunlun specializes in, so Lloyd would be allowed to help her. She instantly ran away to try to find Lloyd, and when she did, Lloyd mistook the demon lord as a drunk man with makeup on his face. Mari took advantage of this misunderstanding and asked Lloyd to clean up his face with his magic. Lloyd purified the demon king, killing him and releasing the king from his control. Again, Lloyd has incredible power, but due to his self-esteem issues, he doubts himself. Mari, being aware of this, played along and had Lloyd save the king. Instead of telling him the king was possessed by a monster and triggering Lloyd's trauma, she acted like everything was okay so Lloyd would keep his cool and save the country. No one told him the king was possessed after it was over because they knew he wouldn't believe them because of how easily he defeated the demon lord. Now, this was the first quote-unquote monster we see Lloyd defeat. We don't know if he's done this before, but he does get a chance to do it again. Lloyd gets a part-time job working at a hotel. The hotel's manager is hosting a meeting between two nobles, and one of the noble's assistants is possessed by a demon lord. When he reveals himself, he begins attacking Lloyd's friends, who for one reason or another came to the hotel. When Lloyd saw him, he realized he was a monster and instantly froze up. He didn't know what to do. All he could do was stare at this beast while having a PTSD flashback. He then saw his friends fighting against this evil monster, and then he remembered why he became a soldier in the first place. If he wants to be a hero, he was going to have to fight a monster at one point or another. And since he had his friends here, he gained the confidence to step up and fight despite being afraid. Fortunately, well actually irrelevantly, the demon lord was frozen in place by Mari and the others. They just couldn't get to the core and destroy it. Then Lloyd just showed up and jumped past all of the tree limbs and roots and ripped out the core and crushed it with his bare hand. This time, Mari took a different approach and told Lloyd that the thing they were fighting is a monster. Probably because it was frozen in place and the core was clearly visible, so purifying it would have been just as difficult but slower since he had to prepare the rune first. And Lloyd does state that this was his first time defeating a monster, so we don't know if he unknowingly defeated a demon lord before the one in the capital. Anyway, this served as a huge moment for him because he gained a lot of confidence by doing something he never expected himself to do. The key factor in all of this would be Mari's quick decision making. Lloyd thinks very highly of Mari because of a misunderstanding where he believes Mari secretly protects the city from monsters. So he believes she is much more powerful than she actually is, and she uses that misinformation to help Lloyd. She may have misinformed him during his first confrontation with a demon lord because she needed him to save her father. But during the second, she recognized that it would be a good opportunity for Lloyd to get over his past trauma, which allowed Lloyd to grow and develop emotionally and take the next step to becoming a hero. Now, there is something very important I need to mention about Lloyd's dream of becoming a hero. Spoilers for the end of the anime. I recommend watching Last Dungeon Boonies. It's incredibly funny and Lloyd is a cool character. So go and watch it if you haven't already. He may have been inspired by a book, but the person he respected the most, his older brother Shoma, was the one who placed that dream in his head. Shoma is incredibly powerful, several times more than Lloyd, and one of the biggest factors in Lloyd's lack of confidence. Everything Lloyd struggled to do, Shoma did with relevant ease. Also, it's not stated in the anime, but I'm sure the one who saved Lloyd from his first encounter with a demon lord was probably Shoma, which is why Lloyd doubts himself so much. Now, Shoma introduced Lloyd to the legend of So, and instilled in him the idea of being a hero. We then learn that Shoma set up the demon lords possessing the king and noble assistant. He did this to aid the former hero So. Now, So was a resident of Kunlun, but he left because he wants to unseal the last dungeon and plunge the world back into darkness. He recruited Soma to aid him in his endeavor. Now, the reason why they are doing this is really interesting. So we know So hates the chief of Kunlun because she controls the seal, and she's immortal so she can't be killed. We then learn that the legendary hero So was created by her when the world was on the brink of destruction. He was created using the magic runes for human, hero, and immortal. His whole existence was for the purpose of saving the world, and when he did, he was supposed to disappear. However, that didn't happen. He was bound to the world as an incomplete existence. He sought to disappear, but as the hero, he couldn't. So he came up with the idea of unsealing the dungeon and creating a chaotic situation so a new hero would be recognized. When he is no longer considered to be the hero, he could finally disappear. Now the reason Shoma is assisting him is because he is bored with the world. There's nothing that brings him excitement, which could be why his catchphrase is "that's intense." Well, in Japanese, he uses the word atsui, which means hot or burning. I think they translated it as intense because if he were saying hot, it may come off as sexual or flirtatious, depending on the context. Because it would seem like he's calling the person or situation hot as in sexy instead of hot as in fierce or fiery. Just wanted to let you guys know what he means by intense. It's the fiery emotions or passion that the person was displaying at the time. But nothing seems to satisfy his needs and urges. He can't find anything that makes his blood rush or his heart beat, leaving him completely bored with the world as it is. And he doesn't want Lloyd to feel the same despair as he does. He loves his brother so much he can't bear the thought of him hating the world like he does. So he started telling Lloyd stories of these legendary heroes until Lloyd wanted to be like them. Then he started sending demon lords to where Lloyd was so he could defeat them and slowly become a hero. This may seem like a horrible situation, but Shoma knows all about Lloyd's strength, so he believes he can easily defeat the demon lords he sends after him. He sets everything up so Lloyd can slowly gain confidence until the time comes when they release the final dungeon. Now this may sound horrible, but Maudie did something similar. She deceived Lloyd to save her country. Granted, what they're doing is on a much larger and more dangerous scale, but their actions don't belittle Lloyd's achievements. He's working hard to help others and improve himself. Just because his actions were motivated by others who have ulterior motives doesn't make Lloyd any less of a hero. I feel like Lloyd is the most human hero we can get. He doubts himself and struggles with mental issues. Despite this, he continues to take action. He doesn't let his insecurities hinder him. As a matter of fact, he uses it to motivate himself to seek self-improvement. That's why he wants to become a hero. A hero isn't the strongest or most powerful person out there, but they are the bravest type of people who go up against the greatest forms of danger despite being afraid. He doesn't want to remain weak and worthless, his opinion not others, so he will run towards danger instead of away. He doesn't let his fear or other people's actions prevent him from accomplishing his dream, which is really impressive and praiseworthy. He's even got other people to act as well and learn from him, so no matter what influenced his decision, he's still a hero. That's going to be it for this one, folks. I hope you all enjoyed. I really respect Lloyd's character because he has the ability to do stuff, but his mental insecurities get in the way. Typically, a character with that type of personality comes off as a crybaby, but Lloyd refuses to not take action, which I love seeing. And if you haven't seen the show, again, it's called Supposed Kid from the Last Dungeon Boonies moved to a starter town. I highly recommend you watch it. It's funny and all in all just a fun show to watch. It is a little childish with its storytelling, but I still liked it. Anyway, I would like to thank you all so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and remember to keep having fun. See ya!